So this is a Sec 1 paper at the end of year examination 2017 for Bukit Merah Secondary School. So we'll start off with question 1, which is on simplification of algebra. So question 1a is a times 3b, okay, minus a. So let's do one part a. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. A bracket times bracket 3b bracket minus a. So let's do this systematically. So for this question, right, we have to do the multiplication first, right? Remember the BITMAS rule, and then afterwards we finish off with the minus. So a times 3b, right? So you can see that this is a positive a and this is a positive 3b. So the sign in front is actually plus, and this 3b in front is also a plus, right? So 3 times a times b. So you can think of it that way, okay? So it will be 3, and then we have ab over here, correct? Because that is how we multiply algebra together, and then we finally have our minus a, and we are done. Okay, so that's for one part a. Okay, so 1b. Okay, so 1b over here we have x minus 2 bracket y minus 2x bracket. Okay, so here is, let's write out the x. We're not going to do anything to the x. So remember, when you multiply something outside into something inside a bracket, it will be minus 2 times y. Okay, so that gives us minus 2y. Okay, and then we have minus 2 times minus 2x. Okay, so I'm going to write it out over here, minus 2 times minus 2x. Okay, so minus and minus meet, plus 2 times 2, 4. And then finally we have our x over here. So let's rearrange the terms. So x, we're going to shift the 4x to the left, okay, plus 4x, and then minus 2y. So then this answer is x plus 4x is 5x, okay, and minus 2y, and we are done with this question. So anyway, you can think of this, right? Okay, sometimes I always teach students. So think of it as 1 apple plus 4 apple. How many apples are there? 5 apples, right? So then x plus 4x will be 5x, okay? So don't be too afraid of the algebra, okay? Think of it as a daily usage, the daily application. Like you bought 1 pen, okay? So 1p, and then you bought another 4 pens. So how many pens have you bought in total? 5 pens, okay? So 5p. Right, let's move on to question 1c, which looks a little bit intimidating, but definitely doable. So we have 4z over 3 minus 3 bracket 2 minus 5z bracket over 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, I'm not going to do anything to the denominator of the fractions. Okay, so 4z over 3, I'm going to write it as such, minus, okay, so what I'm going to do, same thing, I have something outside multiplied by something inside the bracket, and inside the bracket here there are 2 terms. So the first term is 2, and then the second term is minus 5z. So then the multiplication will be as such, 3 times 2, and then 3 times minus 5z. Right, so 3 times 2 is actually 6, and then 3 times minus 5z is actually minus 15z, and then whole thing over 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, as you remember in your primary school math, that is that if let's say you have 2 fractions, right, just an example over here, 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4. How do you add 2 fractions when their denominator is different? You need to make the denominator the same. So one trick is to actually to know what denominator to choose, right, is to multiply this denominator with this denominator. So 3 times 4 is 12. So I'm going to put over 12 over here. So 1 over 3, okay, if I want to make the denominator from 3 to 12, so I must times 4, right? So 3 times 4 is 12. So same thing, if I multiply 4 to the denominator, I must also multiply 4 to the numerator. So it's 4 over 12, okay? And plus, so here I will multiply 3 to the denominator, okay, to get over 12. And then if I multiply 3 to the denominator, I must multiply 3 to the numerator. So there's a 3 here. So that will be 7 over 12. Okay, so this is an example of adding fractions together with different denominator. So using this understanding, okay, over here, okay, so what is the common denominator to choose? 3 times 4, 12. So here I have to times 4 to the denominator so that I get 12, and then I have to times 4 to the numerator. So 4 times 4z is 16z minus, so here I'm going to make the denominator to 12, which means here I multiply the denominator by 3, and then I have to do the same to the numerator, right? So 4 times 3 is 12. So 6 minus 15z times 3. So then I have to multiply 3 to the 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. And I have to multiply the 3 to the minus 15z. So that gives me minus 45z. Okay? So now I have the denominator, they are the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the fractions. So we have 16z over here. So minus, and then together with the 18, minus 18. Minus 45z. So minus means plus 45z. Okay? So now I'm going to rearrange the terms. So 16z plus 45z minus 18 over 12. So this is actually equals to 45z plus 16z. So you can think of it as 45 plus 16. So that is 61z. And then minus 18 over 12. And we are done with 1C. So that is the first question. Okay?